juicy one. So them coming forward, making a collection out of this, if you changed Liu Kang or you changed some certain textures or whatever, that is not original. That means the collection would be false advertising because it is not original, and that is a lie. You cannot do that, and you should not do that. Bait, and he's going to be giving us a reaction, and I'm going to be giving my reaction to this, and it's going to be talking about Mortal Kombat Legacy. And the reason why we're talking about this again is because this guy clearly knows something just as much as anybody else, except for the people that are writing and chilling out the game. But the point about that is we know that there are things wrong with the game, and we're going to kind of get into breaking down why he doesn't like it. So let's get on with the video, and yeah.
I'm just queued up for a match, so we might be able to get some actual gameplay in here, which was one of the sort of issues I have, which is the fact that we're just struggling to find matches.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I did want to show one thing to you guys that is super crazy here. So let's go up here and we're gonna check out the numbers. This is right now at 8:38 in the morning. Check this out. We have 67 players at a 184 24-hour peak, right? At an all-time peak of still 1004. So we're not gaining any new traction. No new traction, no new ground is being covered. Nobody's playing the game that wasn't already playing it before. And you know, you had all the people that refunded it anyway. So now we're looking at people that are playing the game that still own the game, and you can clearly see there's that we're losing. We're probably actively losing players. I wouldn't say that we're gaining any period. We're not going to be gaining any, and I'll be honest with you, the more they update it, I still don't think that it's going to fix it. You got to understand that your first impression is everything. Release a game that is broken at launch, and you know it's going to be forever forgotten after that. Because I mean, I know you can kind of add that with Cyberpunk and how it got better over time, but this ain't Cyberpunk. We're not talking about a AAA game here. We're talking about a game, you know, that's made by probably less than a couple hundred people at a company. You know, you don't even know. So I would think these numbers are only going to get worse, you know, over time, unless crossplay comes out. Maybe that'll make a big difference. But at the moment, dude, no, dude, we're chilling with these numbers for a good while. So if you think you're gonna be finding matches, you're wrong. And then with the public matchmaking system, you know, whenever that comes out, sure, you'll be able to find lobbies with the browsers for the private lobbies and stuff like that. But dude, I'm gonna be so honest with you right now, that's not going to make that big a difference. Sure, you'll be able to find a game easier, but guess what if nobody's hosting a game on the game that you want to play? And then what if you're sitting there hosting it for hours on end, you know, or 15 minutes, 20 minutes? No one wants to wait 20 minutes to play one match, man. And then if you beat them, and then you beat them, or you get your butt kicked, and you're like, oh, this guy's too good for me. Guess what? Now you lost that guy, and now you're gonna have to be waiting another 15, 20, 30 minutes if you hoping that you find somebody else. So in regards to that, that's kind of all I wanted to say, and I think you can agree with me. Let me know in the comments what you think on that.
Because the longer we wait for the online arcade, the longer more and more people will just check out. Nobody wants to sit here.
Exactly what
right?
I just said. People are checking out, bro,
really
and that's just the truth of it.
Comes out, we're able to queue for stuff outside of the lobbies. You know, like we can just queue up all the games we want to fight in, go off and play the arcade, go off and check out the combatants, go watch the documentary, go fiddle our diddle, whatever the fuck, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Go
really
fiddle diddle, man. What he said. You could be doing anything else. That's right? What he's saying
and
here.
It's been a rocky start. I was on a Mike Hollow stream today. Shout out to Mike. Thank you for the invite. Total MK was on there as well. Total MK was informing us about, like, he's been getting a lot of messages and seeing a lot of people complain about stuff that actually isn't worthy of complaining about, or that people have forgotten a thing was a certain way in these old games. And that sort of stuff is like, yeah, that's just noise. That sort of shit doesn't help in getting this game to where it is. Both Total and myself have always called out this sort of shit, as does Mike, in regards to making sure that they are fully aware of what's going on, because we want MK to be great. We want this collection to be great. We want it to be something that every single day, whether we're playing offline or not, we load it up and we go, you know what, if I decide to jump online, I know it's solid. And if I've had enough online but I'm not done with some MK, I know I can jump offline and do some other stuff as well.
And he's absolutely right about that. No matter what, as long as you're playing online or you're playing offline, at the very end of the day, you should be able to play the game and have no issues whatsoever across the board. And because they launched as they did, that's not the experience here whatsoever. And you're constantly seeing that just plummet down, dude. Everybody's doubling down right now because you know that it's hurting, and it sucks to be able to wake up and we're like, man, what we're gonna do today? You know, we're fighting players. We like to play some Mortal Kombat. I mean, I'm an all kind of player. I don't just play fighting games, but here I'm covering MK because I like this game. And you know, the Legacy Collection came out. I had all, you know, this nostalgic, you know, from when I used to play it with my brothers growing up, you know, and you know, seeing them play it, and it was just, I don't know, like you want to get back to that and you want to play that, you want to feel that, and you know, it reminds you just of a better time. You know, when you were a kid, you didn't have to worry about nothing, but you get on and you know, you see it's broken as freak, and you know, you're like, dang dude, I really want to play this, but I can't. There's just no true enjoyment here that I'm feeling because of how broken it is. I mean, if you look past the broken parts of the game, yeah, you can surely enjoy it, but I mean, it ain't there, you know. And I think that's kind of what he's getting at here.
Not having things like Gold in there, N64 Trilogy, Mega CD, NK1, you know, these are some big heavy hitters that hopefully down the track we'll get some DLC for.
You're not getting DLC for this game. You're not getting DLC. Anybody that asks for DLC, I'm sorry, you're nuts if you think they're giving DLC to this game.
The animated endings, which was very cool from MK4, PS1, and
this game, I'll tell you what, this game received enough backlash and enough refunds and publicity to the point where I promise you right now, you will not see any DLC for this game because of how bad it launched and how bad it is in its current state. Even on Steam, and then the Switch not having online for MK4. Switch, you know, losing all updates and stuff like that for the foreseeable future, so you have no idea how the game will operate down the line with online. So there's so many different things across the board. Don't even think about DLC right now.
It's also being made available to people that missed out through either not owning the console or being able to play on emulation. Sometimes you can have just one or two.
I'm gonna say right now, emulation is better. I don't care what you think. Now, play it on emulation if you can.
This for a long time,
play it on your phone, dude.
Especially OG people. And
except for the PS1 games, those games load way too slow on emulation on your phone.
If the match is good, they're good, right? But there has been a lot of issues since launch. It's almost like they had very little time to do any sort of like testing, like proper testing with this thing. Not just the online stuff, offline things.
See, I wonder if they moved it back because of the Mortal Kombat movie. That's what I was thinking.
In the stream about how we're getting the actual glitch.
Or they moved the movie back
showcased in a video
and then brought this forward, like
just flashing everywhere,
kind of to clear that air. That, you know what I mean?
Right. He explained why that's actually happening, which is another reason why people need to go check out Total, because he's very, very good with that sort of stuff as well. Very technical, and he understands a lot of that stuff. And so, you know, when you're complaining about the color of a fucking door, or like, oh, I don't remember the stage being like this, that's a you problem.
No, okay, hold on now. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so he said that's a you problem. So if I saw something back then, and you know, it was, hold on, you know what? Let's see what he says real quick.
They didn't change it. Okay. But if there are actual issues, crash.
Okay, hold on now. So so that's, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. If there is something that was in the game back then, this is supposed to be a collection of the original titles, is it not? And if it is so, if I go back and I go play this game on the Nintendo 64, I go play it on the, you know, Sega Genesis, or, you know, whatever I want to play Mortal Kombat on that it came out on, I should be able to do that. You know, and know, hey, it's the same game that I still remember. So them coming forward, making a collection out of this, if you changed Liu Kang and you changed some certain textures or whatever, that is not original. That means the collection would be false advertising because it is not original, and that is a lie. You cannot do that, and you should not do that. Do not. What you just said is an advocation for them changing the originals, and you should not want to do that by any means. I don't care if it's a glitch in the game and the texture's not showing up. They need to fix it. It's an issue that it's still part of the game. You got to understand that you let these little issues trickle out. You know, it starts as a texture, and then it goes all the way into your networking. It goes all the way into your input delay. You know, the list goes on. Everything matters. Do not just state something that just because it's a texture, overlook it. It's not important right now. No, what's important is that they launched the game trash, and that is only a minor issue, yes, but it's part of a bigger problem. We're looking at the bigger picture here. We're not looking at just, you know, certain things here. We're looking at the collection as a whole, because that's the thing that has meaning here. The collection has that purpose, and I think, you know, that's kind of what a lot of people are missing here, is that the collection is meant to give you that nostalgic feeling to play this game, you know, a brand new, you know, today, and not have any issues whatsoever. Whatever, list goes on. But you cannot actively advocate for something like that. That is wrong. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
There's actually a section filled to the brim of all the issues that people are having and or discovering.
Right.
That's why that's there, which is great. And if
Absolutely.
you do find something and you want to share it, I've been sharing shit that I've been having issues on there. Go over there and post your stuff.
You should. Everybody should be giving feedback.
This game, right? Let's see if we can find a MK2 match, because I tried Trilogy and it just wasn't having it. There we go. On arcade, we'll try arcade MK2. Is it all bad?
Yeah, good luck.
No, obviously it's not all bad. I've already pointed out the things that I find positive. The vibe of the game itself feels very classic MK. The music is fantastic. It's got a jukebox.
Right, you got to point out the positives here. He's absolutely right.
Like Special Forces soundtrack in there as well. It does feel rushed, right?
Yes.
Which can sour the experience a little bit. And because I've been playing all of these games on emulation
a lot,
for a very long time,
as you can see, look around you. It's a big difference.
I know how these things feel, how they sound, stuff like that. So when I was playing Genesis MK1, I'm like, hang on what the fuck is that, right? The title said that he's got both revisions on his PC. I got both revisions on my PC, but the one I always load up isn't so normally I think it's listed as like Mortal Kombat in brackets world. Sometimes might be listed as 1.1, but the ones I've got on PC are listed as in brackets world, right? So I normally would just load up the one that says Mortal Kombat, right? And this is the one that was primarily sold to most people. Now maybe near the end there, they perhaps did some changes. Obviously changed the sound effect of Kano's knife hitting them, the sound effect that comes in when you actually go to perform the fatality. Very
there you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's that false advertising of the collection. They're lying to you because they're changing things. If you change something that is different from the original, you cannot do that. And you can't go and say, oh yeah, this is straight up for, you know, preservation purposes. We're doing this to preserve the game. You're a fucking liar. That's what you are. You can't do that. You can't do that. And I think he knows that. And I think a lot of other people do it. Or they know the same thing. You can't do that. And here they are.
MK fans play this one, right? Why am I talking about this, you know, again? Because sometimes simple things like this can kind of piss me off about the rest of it.
Yes.
You know? Grains of sand eventually make a heap, and so
thank you. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I can't even fucking play the one that I grew up with. It's not about having. Well, my version
so from earlier, then I think maybe he was talking about somebody else when he was advocating for it in the beginning there when I was talking about it, but now it seems like he's on the opposite spectrum here. He's saying he can't even come back and enjoy a game and play something that even when he was a kid. So maybe he was using someone or something as an example. I must have missed that. I have no idea. But clearly he's showing now that he's on the opposite side, which is, you know, where I'm at.
My
which
game
is good.
Isn't in there. No, it's not even the right version that most people remember.
Right,
and
exactly.
The documentary actually plays musically, and you can even see the fatality happen. They actually show Revision O, right? So it's little things like that, where from a personal perspective, I go, man, he's kind of shitting me.
No, exactly. That's that.
This is shitting me.
That's that.
Right?
That's that thing that I was telling you about
And
with the
so,
bigger picture that
therefore,
matters. You add the little things up.
That can dilute my experience.
Absolutely, which is
objectively though,
why there's countless problems and refunds, and
the overall product is like in absolute shit shape. Like I said, the menus are fine, the music's fine.
Right. No one has a problem with the
seems
things
to be
like
the
that.
only thing that seems to be the most less sort of like
the
less
most less broken thing.
I think somebody was telling me the other day that the documentary. Oh yeah,
no
that's
one
what
has
Dragoon was
issues with
telling me.
that.
The documentary was actually playing up for him. The documentary seems to be the least problematic, and it seems kind of like everything else was kind of like not so much an afterthought, almost like they didn't have time.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Now somebody comes to me and goes, well, you know, what would you suggest for people? And I would be, you know, just like, you know, Mike was talking about, just, you know, if he finds that the game has been fixed, you know, and not through reviewers, because the reviewers for this game praise the shit out of it.
And they lied. Right? Absolutely.
I don't even think they played half the
we
fucking games.
We know who you are, you shills.
Delve deep enough to
we
find
know who
any
you are.
actual major issues. There's just some dude or some chick going, oh yeah, I'll review it, whatever. Oh cool, punch your games, love Mortal Kombat, woohoo, fatality, bro.
Absolutely, he's not wrong. He is telling you the truth, 100%.
Okay? Whereas MK fans like us, we're getting into the nitty fucking gritty.
That's right. We'll go down to the freaking the input delay, to the buttons, to the combos. This doesn't feel right. This fatality is not the way it's supposed to be, or you know.
And so I hope,
and we use that.
So here's where the hope comes in.
Down to the levels, the stages,
digital clips, obviously
accuracy, you name it.
And this was talked about in the podcast earlier too. They're very outspoken in terms of like replying to people, letting people know what's going on, pushing out patches, right? They're using Steam essentially as the test bed,
right?
Because Steam doesn't have any certification process. They can directly patch their own software.
Yeah, Steam is so much easier because they don't have to go through any certification.
Unlike
certification for Xbox and PlayStation is wild, and it takes weeks, I think.
Therefore, you know, we on the PC side of things, we have started to see actual improvements, even if it's small changes in the positive direction. But I can tell you right now, the online arcade, like we can all see it, and I've covered it on the channel.
Yeah, I mean, look at
I covered
look at how long he's been looking for a game, dude. This is exactly what I was explaining at the beginning of the video.
Really fucking good.
Look at that. He waited so long that it shut down. Either that or he backed out. But the point is, he still waited there for a long time.
In a fast enough time.
You should not have to do that.
And whether or not it's going to be stable. Yeah. So anyone that used to play Mortal Kombat with their friends and stuff, well, the easiest way to do that in this day and age is obviously getting online and playing with them.
Right.
And you don't have to physically be there anymore. You can load up Discord and your webcam's on and shit like that. You don't physically have to hang out with people because, you know, as you get older, you got families, kids, all sorts of stuff going on.
Absolutely.
Or those of us that find it difficult to go out or travel a lot, such as myself, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to just jump in. And because we can't have that, for all us old MK fans wanting to jump in and just have some fun, yeah, we you know,
can't even do that. I know, we can't even do that.
Refunded the game. Who's been an MK fan who used to compete, Dragoon.
Props to that dude. I hit my limit and I couldn't refund it. So, but
when that starts pushing people away, you have to start asking questions about, okay, how do we get them back?
You don't.
Now this is where,
and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why you do not get those players back. They had an experience. They had an experience of what that company has to offer, what that company showed them as a first impression from a consumer standpoint. Nobody is going to buy that game again that refunded it. And I'll tell you, if they do, it would have to be because it has to be through like a friend telling them, you know, hey dude, I promise you it's different or something like that. But if you're talking about your average Andy that said, hey, I'm gonna go play this Mortal Kombat game, I've never played Mortal Kombat before, and here I am, I want to go test it out, I want to try it, you lost that guy from day one. His impressions on that were probably so bad that you're not getting him back. That is just the truth. Let me know what you think about that in the comments, because honestly, I think I'm right here. A first impression is everything, and if you mess up, dude, most of the time, either, like, think about a job interview, man. Most of the time, let's be honest, you say one wrong thing, your ass is canned. You say something stupid, canned. You know, and then you put this into the game perspective. You know, game is broken right off the bat. Input delay is horrible. Sounds and audio design, you know, not the design so far, but mostly the connection, stability, everything. You add all that together and you think first impressions, where you're kicking yourself right in the ass, telling yourself no one's buying my product, and that's just the truth. That is the truth. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, because, like,
I'm curious about that.
It's very disappointing, and it's been a very rocky release for this collection, and the frequency and the speed of these patches.
Nah, doesn't matter.
I actually have a lot of hope that
nope. Hell
they
no,
will eventually
I don't.
fix this. Now, I know that they've done
even if there is an eventually a fixing, you're not getting those players back.
Condition. I didn't play. I think I played.
And I'll be honest with you. By the time that this game probably gets fixed, I don't care if it's even December, January, whatever rolls out, I'll be playing another game by then. You got to realize the attention span of most of your audience. Now, you may have your diehard players playing this game, but your audience of gamers in today's world, the attention span has dropped so low that they're actively buying new games all the time. So it's even worse that you even got them to refund the game, and their experience is now over. That experience is not coming back. They're not going to buy it again. They're moving on to that next game. Most of the time it being an indie game nowadays, because the indie games are so much better than the AAA games. Dude, the list goes on, dude. It goes on compared to somebody thinking that they're going to come back and buy this. Digital Eclipse, if they think we're going to pull some more players back in, whatever, anybody that says that, they're lying. They're lying out to themselves.
But 30th online, right?
Which is absolutely hilarious.
This is where the hope comes in, and I was saying this to the guys on the podcast earlier, is that I own the game. They got my money, and I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. I'm going to make sure that they fix it. MK's a big IP. If they fumble this,
which they already have,
do serious damage to their reputation in this space.
And it already has some more.
I'm very happy that they do the documentary.
Sorry, I know, dude. Just about everything he's saying, dude. Like the publicity about this. So I mean, even with the refunds at Sony, the amount of brokenness about the game, the mixed reviews on Steam to the player count. There's the recovery right now. You're looking at a 2080 here, dude, and it's not going, like, a 2080 split is not going to work. They're sitting at 20. They need 80% to recover. Not happening, dude. The odds of that happening are, like, insane. Like, if you think it's possible, please let me know. Please let me know, guys.
The reality is though, is that I didn't pay for the collection just to watch it. I paid for the collection to play it and engage with it and enjoy the games on there, right? One thing could absolutely be done without the other, right? And so while I'm very happy, like if we quickly look at all the games available offline,
right?
While I'm very happy that we actually have all of this in here, it's the very first time we've actually got home console versions brought up. Like, I'm very happy that these are all on here, yeah? Right? Obviously, like I said, some key missing ones, and that will really just, that'll round it out. Like my fucking OCD can't handle not seeing MK Gold in there, right? Right. And I know I've seen some people go, oh, they never wanted it. No, they love MK Gold. I mean, but obviously there was a priority here and an urgency to get this particular collection out, probably like most people surmise, because of the what would you call it? The MK movie that was going to come out. Oh
yeah. See, look, even he knows. I just said the same thing.
So it's like, well, we either like leave this as is, or
man, that sucks. If they really went off the movie and pushed it back just so they could have this come out.
Release it now, and then if you release it next year, yeah, you could probably get more done. You would have had more time to iron out issues and stuff like that.
Oh, a lot more time.
I'll tell you what, man, like it's, you know, when you, like, I think one of the Nintendo, I think, dudes said that everyone always remembers a bad release,
Oh, here it is. Here, yep. Oh, come on.
Everyone always remembers a bad release. And that's
Absolutely.
kind of what's happened here. Like I said, it's not everything.
No, not kind of. See, what now
like,
you gotta be careful with your words here, because I've seen him trickle around like the kinda or stuff like that. Like, just say it as it is, dude. Say it as it is. And maybe he was just off the brain, but I'm just giving my input here based off of my reaction. Say it as it is, and it's bad, man. It's just straight bad. It did happen. It's garbage. It's garbage. It's cool that we get to play them offline, but honestly, dude, I could do this on emulation. I know console players couldn't do this, and I know like that's your majority audience, but I'll be honest with you, bro. I don't really care. I mean, your majority audience right there, they're playing MK1 or MKX or MK11 still, and if they're playing this, I mean, a lot of them are probably struggling to play the game anyway, But I do care about, the console player base, obviously. I was a console player myself, but I'm just saying the amount of issues that are, with this game, I don't think you're not recovering from it. That's just it. You're just not going to.
Like, at the same time, it has sort of, done some tarnishing to their reputation.
No,
and
a lot of tarnishing to the reputation.
Some of this stuff, like I said, has been
you lost new players, old players,
move lists, offline
fatalities, and you lose old players. You lose players that supported you no matter what. In some cases too. So,
there's still a bit of a road.
That's pretty bad.
And part of that, well, let's call it the bridge, right? The bridge to get us onto the next part of the road is online arcade. We absolutely need it, and we kind of need it quickish, right? I know, like I said, like when I covered it,
I'm sorry, man.
Godly was showcasing it. Looks like about 90% of it's done, if not more than that. Obviously, they've got to fix some placeholder titles and names and stuff like that, but ultimately, it looks like it's getting there. They're probably doing, well, not probably, I hope they are, doing testing right now. And so, we'll, like, that will be the bridge to the next piece of road. What's the next piece of road? Well, outside of like general patches and maintenance, hopefully down the track we start to hear rumblings of DLC.
No,
right?
Hell no, you ain't seeing DLC,
this is a
bro.
Legacy Collection.
Again,
they are missing some.
Not seeing DLC, dude. Like with the shithole of a launch we got, you're not seeing it.
Maybe it's because they haven't had enough time to figure out the licensing arrangement or anything like that.
Nope.
I find that strange, though.
I don't think so.
That's like
that. Hell
why would
no.
there be like? I mean, maybe Eurocom, obviously, when it comes to things like MK4 and MK Gold, perhaps. But Eurocom doesn't exist anymore, right? Sega does, and clearly Sega are fine with their games being on here, hence the ports that they have. Same with Nintendo. Nintendo's got, I think Nintendo's pretty much got every version, except for MK4 on the Game Boy Color. That's not been added as yet.
I don't think it has anything to do with licensing. I mean, the IP of Mortal Kombat is owned by somebody.
What I want to do is
they can pull that IP from anywhere if they made a product from it.
Was this collection, and get excited about what's going to come, and to get you through
at least to my knowledge, I could be wrong.
You keep working on patching the game. You keep working on or bring online arcade, and then. Online arcade's going to come with its own issues.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's going to come with its own headaches. Okay. But at the very least, we can set up lobbies, we can jump in, we can play, and then.
Yeah, you think that. You think that. Wait till you try to get into lobbies and they just start disconnecting automatically.
And then I hope after we get over that bridge, we start to get rumblings of DLC.
Nah,
right?
Sorry, man.
Because that will be very exciting. Because a lot of
it's not happening. What that could be. Not happening.
But it is in a very rocky state. I would recommend to people, if they ask me, should I buy it now or not?
Fuck no. Do not buy this game.
Honestly, it's really up to you. Like, I mean, I don't really like to tell people what to do with their money because.
Okay, well, you may not be able to tell people what to do with their money, but you should at least be honest with them. If you saw dog shit on the ground, would you tell them to walk around it or not? In this case, you said, I mean, I'm not gonna tell people where to walk. They might as well walk through it. No, you would be a kind person Not saying that you're not kind. I'm just using this as an example. You would say, hey, do this shit over there. Don't walk around, or don't walk through it, walk around it, right? In this case, you know, the Legacy Collection being the shit on the ground. Don't walk through it, you know, and then tell them why you shouldn't, you know what I mean? Because it smells, it doesn't work right, you know, obviously. That you get what I'm saying. So, like, come on, just be honest here, you know what I'm saying? Like, just don't lie to them. Don't walk around, don't tippy toe tell them, you know, I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your money. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all adults, so you can do whatever you want with your money, for sure. Doesn't mean you can't tell them, hey, you know, there's nothing wrong with advising somebody to do otherwise when you have experienced that same thing. That's kind of how knowledge is shared. If you don't give your experience and tell them, then you're only setting them up for failure, telling them, hey, you know, you make your own decisions, man, you know, and then you don't give them any reason, and then they're like, oh, okay, and then they come back later and they're like, dude, you didn't tell me that was dog shit that I just walked through. You know what I mean? Like, you you can't do that, man. Come on, have a little bit of grace to tell people what they should do. You know, if you have that experience, you're passing that knowledge there. So, you know, and as somebody, I don't know how old you are, but you know, I ain't very old. I'm only 22. So seeing you say something like that, you should pass that knowledge on. Try to help out your friendly gamer, whoever. You know, this doesn't even apply to just the game. This applies to everything. Come on. So let me know
if they're perfectly fine playing most of these offline. And I like playing them offline too, so I can get that point of view. So that's fine. You know, if you find that there's money that you find that's to be had and enjoyment to that, do it. If you are very much excited about wanting to play online, I would, well, there's only quick play, right? Oh, sorry, quick match. And you literally just choose your game and just sit here and look at a screen.
Right. Exactly. Oh, come on.
As you can tell.
Right.
Right.
You know, the ads.
So that's a lot of problems.
The ads.
Okay. And that will mean that, like, while you love those MK games, maybe you've been waiting a long time to jump on and play with your mates and have some fun. You know? And so to that I'd say, look, the game's not going to just suddenly delist. Just wait. Keep an eye on content creators and news sites that you can trust.
If it did, I wouldn't be surprised.
Wait for their feedback, and then see where you go. Right? But it's not going anywhere. Like, the MK collection isn't going anywhere. I know someone, I think on Mike's podcast, was worrying about, you know, if this fails, we're never going to get any more MK. Well, again, like,
oh no, that's not the case.
Most people have a computer of some description.
You're not going to get any more MK.
Games, and you can play these games online, right?
You're still going to get MK games. Don't worry about that.
The reason why I support this is because it's an official capacity, right? I would like to load this up instead of Fightcade every day.
Well, yeah? It's official. It's official in the sense, yeah, but it was outsourced to Digital Eclipse. So, I mean, and let's be honest, it wasn't made in-house, so it's not really the same thing. I mean, if you had NRS to blame for this, it'd be a whole nother story. But because it was outsourced to Digital Eclipse for them to do it, it's like a tippy toe around that kind of thing. And you're just like, man, like, you know, so Digital Eclipse, if this fails, they're taking the blame wholeheartedly for it. You can't blame anybody else here. I mean, you can and say, you know, you can and think that, oh, well, it was NRS, it was WB, you know, you can say that. Unless you got to show me proof. You can't just say shit, obviously. But, you know, I'm sure there's some chain of command that trickles down, you know, and it gets worse from there. Of course, I believe that, but I'm saying you can't just say stuff to say stuff too at the end of the day. But yeah, come on.
This is far more exciting to me visually and accessibility wise than Fightcade, because Fightcade is just a giant fucking chat room. You know,
yeah, but
and there's no quick match. You've got to click on someone and challenge them.
That's the problem. Is it's not
vice versa.
It's not official and it works better.
Whereas in this, it's kind of like it takes that little bit of a headache out of the equation, so that way you can just queue up for stuff and maybe go do something else in the game.
Right. And he's not wrong there. He's not wrong there. easy
online
to
stuff,
plug
I
and
think,
play.
really soured
That's
a lot of
basically
people
what it is.
because we
It's a
just
plug
wanted
and
to hang
play.
out with their mates. And then when you start getting glitches, again, grains of sand eventually make a heap. It all ends up becoming just a big shit show, and it tarnishes it. Doesn't mean to say, and I've said this since the start, there is a solid foundation here. But by God, half the building's like condemned, right? And
No.
particularly if
Three-fourths of the building is fucking caving in this scenario.
To play, and you're finding like massive issues with it, right? Then you're gonna have a rough time with it, because like I said, this one is the wrong version from what I played.
See, and I can't.
Okay?
I have no idea.
It's the
I
wrong
didn't grow
version.
up playing these old games, so
It
like
absolutely is.
we're counting on people like him
I
that
wish
grew up
that we
playing
could
these
get
games. Damn, that's bright.
the version, at least down the track, of Revision O, right? Just literally, like when you click play game or something, or you know, maybe come in here and there's an option under here to change it from Revision 1.1 to 1.0, and then it reboots the game into that version.
I mean,
that's it.
That would be pretty simple.
And I say simple because these guys have done a stellar job giving us ultimate access.
Well, the reason why it's not simple though is because the game is a ROM, right? They put it in the files as a ROM, so you can't. In the way that they probably coded it is they coded it through. You know, you've got all of the games that show up on this, you know, on the main menu there for whenever you go to select your game, and then that ROM is within that selection. And so when you have all of that in there, well, here's the thing: you'd have to drag another ROM in there, and then you'd have to do the coding for it to show up into the menu to be able to play it, and then add all the additional settings to it that you did with every other game. You know, it's not as simple to do. I mean, maybe for them, if they're, you know, crazy talented and they can just copy and paste the code to make it work properly, maybe. But I don't see that happening. That and to me that would seem like a DLC sort of thing, and which, like I said, I already said, I don't think that's happening either. So might as well get that out of the window.
Types of cheats that normally needed button inputs or were kind of obscure to get to. So I'm pretty sure it'd be very easy for them, and the ROM size is like kilobytes, if that. You know.
Right.
So anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. You know, I am very glad to see that Digital Eclipse are knuckling down and, you know, getting through this, because I want this to be great.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, basically, you know, you want all the improvements, you want, you know, all the positivity that's there. You can say that, you know, and you can give them a pat on the back. I'm glad they're doing what they're doing. I'm glad they're making the game better. I'm glad. It's absolutely a positive, good thing for the game. Now, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't fix all of the cons that, you know, that were previously had, you know, like, sure, the game, like fixing the game bugs, but like I said, with the DLC coming, that's not going to happen. They didn't make enough profit, I'm sure, you know, and then they would have to be, you know, under another probably licensing agreement with, you know, WB, NRS, however that works, to outsource, you know, more DLC, more titles. You know, maybe it's only for, you know, so long. You don't know. We have no idea how that works. And then, yeah, like I said, DLC is not going to work anyway for this game. But this game doing as bad as it did, and then with the refunds, the PlayStation refunds, I mean, it's so bad. First impressions, like I said, with the consumer and everything like that, and then you add that on top of, are we going to get a Legacy Collection 2 based off of this? Based off of this alone, I would say no. But if we ever do, you know, come back and clip this video and, you know, tell me I was wrong. I'd be happy to, you know, I would be happy to be wrong. That's the thing, because I want to see that 3D era come to consoles, come to PC for the first time ever. Sadly, yeah, through emulation, even though we can already play those games through emulation, I'd rather see real ports to the actual consoles, but that'll never happen anyway, but still. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. You know, let me know. Are you still upset? Are what do you agree with? Do you agree with, you know, me on the consumer standpoint, on the consumer side of things? Because I look at this as a casual consumer straight out. So, you know, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.